Afternoon and welcome to We Believe Digital News Break. Chris Young with you today, first time back in the new year and at a new time slot. You know, for the longest time, maybe a year and a half or so, we were doing news break at 12 noon on Wednesdays and Fridays. Now we're shifting to 3 p.m. on Wednesdays and Fridays. Hope that can work with your schedule to see the show live, but if not, you know, you can see us at any time on demand through YouTube or Facebook or WeBelieveDigital.com. So always glad to have you. 30-minute little news stories a couple of times a week, and just always glad to have you following us. And we'll start out at the local level today. Try to provide an update on this HB 1020 story that has been going on and on and on. You know, the legislature and you know, this affects Jackson and Hinds County. So the legislature, in their wisdom, you know, decided that they were going to do something in Jackson that they do nowhere else in the state of Mississippi. Wink, wink. You know, they're going to install their own police force, and they're going to create their own court system. And of course, they say that it's to help, you know, to help Jackson. But, you know, they never offered to sit down, provide assistance, ask, hey, is there anything we can help with? They just do it, you know, because these are white people, and in this case, white Republicans, and they just do what they want to do. And so so they passed that law, but quick like a bunny, as soon as the governor signed it into law, you know, the NAACP and many others filed suit. And so now the latest on that, just so you know, as of January 1st, that was supposed to, the Chief Justice of the Mississippi Supreme Court was supposed to be able, in accordance with this state law, to appoint a judge and the Mississippi Attorney General to appoint prosecutors for this new court, this new court within the Capitol Complex Improvement District. So the heck with the voters of Hinds County, the heck with the autonomy of citizens having a right to, you know, have their own police force via the mayor that they elect, appointing a police chief, and everywhere else in Mississippi, you know, they vote for their judges, but these guys decide they're going to do what they want. So the latest is that the federal judge in our area, Henry Wingate, denied the motions of all the plaintiffs seeking an injunction, seeking relief, seeking to push the pause button while they take a look at this harder. And so once he did that, they appealed to the Fifth Circuit. And the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has put an administrative stay in place until the end of the day Friday. So they apparently, at least with a 3-judge panel, will hear what these plaintiffs have had to say and hear these motions that were denied by U.S. District Court Henry T. Wingate. So that's what's going on. HB 1020 is law, but it's slightly on hold as we speak right now, and we should find out more at the end of the week. And certainly we'll let you know as soon as we hear that. Once again, this is going on nowhere else in Mississippi. Just here And you know what's unique about Jackson. It's a 80+ % black city. And the people that are making these laws and these rules, they're all white people. Also in Jackson, it came out at a city council meeting earlier today that Jackson got a new Parks and Recreation director. And he was at the council with the council today sharing his plans. This is Dr. Abram Muhammad, the new director of Parks and Recreation. He replaces Isan Harris, who stepped down in September. So there's been a lot of talk about things in Parks and Recreation and not bringing enough revenue at the zoo and all kinds of different stuff. But Parks and Recreation, really, really important, especially for our youth, but also for older folks. And the zoo, of course, tremendously important to the development of our children and all. So we got a new director in place, and hopefully this person figure out a way to be creative, to find a way to make the numbers work, and to keep these really vital services going in our community. Also out of the Jackson City Council, boy, they really working now. New city ordinance designed to address youth crime could fine parents if their kids aren't home at a certain time. The council re-implemented a temporary curfew for children ages 17 and under. The measure was passed on a unanimous vote. It will go into effect in 30 days and be in place until January 1st, 2025. So give it a try for, look like about 11 months, right? And parents found in violation of the rule could be fined anywhere from $25 to hundreds of dollars. Requires students also to be in school during the hours of 7:30 to 3:30 Monday through Friday during the academic year. Students who violate those rules be subject to youth court laws. Those are state youth court laws. There's some exceptions to the curfew, and here's what they are. Anytime a minor is accompanied by an adult. So if the adult is with the minor, it's an exception, it doesn't count. When accompanied by an adult authorized by a parent for a designated period of time and a definite purpose and within a designated space. Now, I'm not sure how all that reads out, but that ought to be interesting. Until midnight 30 a.m., if the minor is on an errand for a parent. So if the parent sends the child to the corner store at midnight to get a pack of smokes, I guess they can do that. If the minor is legally employed, the curfew doesn't apply to them. Until midnight 30, if the minor is on property directly adjacent to their home, or returning home by a direct route from school, religious, or voluntary activities. Or in the case of reasonable necessity, if that necessity has been communicated to the Jackson Police Department by the parents. When a minor parent with parental consent is traveling through the city via the interstate, they're exempted from that curfew. So how about that? So moving on to the broader state picture, today is another day. We have the legislature back in session now. But today is another day that no Republican elected leaders, none of them, not one of them, has called for hearings. This Republican majority, not one of them has called for hearings into this TANF scandal. Oh, the numbers vary anywhere from $74 million to $100 million that was pilfered from a federal fund earmarked for the very poorest of the poor in Mississippi, the poorest state in the nation. And these guys squandered that money. They stole what wasn't theirs. This strongly involves two governors and their appointees. And all Republicans, of course, and they spend it on like trips to send former WWE wrestlers to rehab in Malibu, California. How is that for poor people? They spend for $5 million for a volleyball stadium at USM. What are you going to do? Bring poor people in one day a month and give them a tour and then bring them home? Come on now. Fitness boot camps for the current governor, Tate Reeves. $1.3 million of TANF money spent on fitness boot camp for the governor and his pals. Just horrible what these people do. Absolutely horrible. And they all call themselves Christians. Every last one of them. I look up on their bios, they belong to this Christian, this church, what. A lot of hypocrisy to steal money from the poor, and yet you call yourself Christian. So another day with no hearings by the Republicans who are in control at the Mississippi Capitol. Amazing article today in the Mississippi Today newspaper. Jerry Mitchell, a longtime activist, investigative journalist, very much a friend of the oppressed in this state and in this country, penned an article entitled "Rankin Sheriff Says He Learned at the Knee of a Former Simpson County Sheriff, Lloyd Goon Jones." Man, you got to try to read that article. Tell you so much about what's going on over there in Rankin County and that goon squad, and it's been going on for decades. Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey regards as his mentor a law enforcement officer with a reputation for terrorizing Mississippi's black community. Go read that article. Extremely informative. Mississippi Today. From the Associated Press, two influential members of the U.S. House of Representatives from Mississippi, Democrat Representative Benny Thompson and Representative Michael Guest, have confirmed to the Associated Press that they will run for re-election as the state qualifying period began yesterday for candidates seeking federal office. The qualifying period is from yesterday until January 15th. Thompson, the top Democrat on the House Committee on Homeland Security, who also chaired the now dissolved House January 6th Committee, which was so hugely important to this country, has represented Central Mississippi's congressional district since 1993. And Guest, much more of a newcomer, chairs the House Ethics Committee. Wow. And recently oversaw the committee's probe into former Representative George Santos of New York. Guest has represented Mississippi 3rd Congressional District, cover parts of Central and East Mississippi since 2019. Both running for re-election. So how about that? So we'll skip on to start on the national news now, and we'll take a break, maybe couple of stories in here. We'll take a little break and then come back. So the first one at the national level, reporting from NBC News, the state capitol complexes in Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, Montana, and Michigan were all evacuated this morning after bomb threats were made, according to officials from all the different states. And I wonder why that's going on. Does anybody ever really think about that? 5 different states, state legislatures back in session and all that. Next story, affecting the Navajo tribes and some of the Hopi tribe, shortage of firewood. Big shortage of firewood, and this covers tribes in Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, and New Mexico, being fortified by a federal program, for a federal forestry program, now serving 5 tribes in those 4 states, handing out 10,000 cord of wood in 2023. Miranda Mullet, who grew up in wild ruins in a hogan built by her grandfather, initially embarked on her own effort to provide firewood to tribal members after visiting her ancestral home in December and learning of their plight. See, many of these places don't have running water and they do not have electricity, so the firewood becomes critically important. She says, I find that Navajo people are very resilient, and so they're not just going to sit around and be like, oh, I'm cold. Our elders will go out and try and take care of themselves, and sometimes the result is not what we want. And so we'll go ahead and dip out now for a couple of commercials. We'll be right back with you.
Are you dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Welcome back to We Believe Digital Newsbreak. Glad to have you with us. We just, in our final segment today, got another half a dozen stories or so to share with you. But the first one is on the national level. Lots and lots of people running scared now in the United States over this Jeffrey Epstein situation. Court documents that will make public the names of more than 150 people tied to a settled lawsuit involving the late financier and accused sex offender Jeffrey Epstein are expected to be released as soon as today, a spokesman for the federal court in New York said. District Judge Loretta Preska last month ordered materials be released after January 1st. However, the judge delayed whether to release documents associated with those who have objected to the disclosure of their names until a later date, the spokesman said. You know, Epstein had this penchant for young girls, many, many times underage, from everything that's been written in so many different sources. And he was finally arrested, and he hung himself in jail in 2019. He had a co-conspirator, so to say. How do you pronounce that? Ghislaine Maxwell. She's a 62-year-old woman. She helped him recruit these young girls, and is in a federal prison in Tallahassee right now. She's filed an appeal of the verdict, claiming prosecutors used her as a scapegoat. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when that list comes out. From Lexington, Kentucky, remember that former county clerk, Kim Davis? She's a clerk. Refused to issue marriage licenses in Kentucky to same-sex couples. She got to pay now a total of $260,104 in fees and expenses to attorneys who represented one of the couples, according to a federal judge's ruling. That in addition to $100,000 in damages, a jury said the former Rowan County clerk should pay the couple who sued. Attorneys for Davis had argued that the fees and costs sought by the attorneys were excessive. Well, what about her decision? Was that excessive? The judge said Davis must pay since the men prevailed in their lawsuit. So that's according to the Lexington Herald Leader newspaper. Very sad story, of course, about Harvard University President Claudine Gay, the very first black president of Harvard, a black woman at that, resigned Tuesday after facing intense scrutiny for equivocal testimony she gave at a congressional hearing on campus anti-Semitism, as well as widening allegations of plagiarism in her academic work. It was a hard situation. You know, she got called in there by the highly partisan Elise Stefanik, big MAGA person, and grilled alongside two other Ivy League college presidents, all three of them women. What she was trying to say was that it's okay in the climate of our university, it's okay in our university culture to express views, whatever they are. That's part of the culture. That's part of the climate. That's part of growing and learning, to hear the other side, to express your views. But she was very clear to say, until it becomes conduct, until it becomes harassment conduct, or people putting hands on each other or stuff like that. But anyway, it didn't go well. Quote, "It's with a heavy heart but a deep love for Harvard that I write to share that I will be stepping down as president," Gay said in a letter to the Harvard community. "This is not a decision I came to easily. It's been difficult beyond words because I have looked forward to working with so many of you in advance the commitment to advance the commitment of academic excellence that has propelled this great university across centuries. But after consulting with the university's board, it has become clear that it is in the best interest of Harvard for me to resign so that our community can navigate this moment of extraordinary challenge with a focus on the institution rather than any individual." And she will stay on at the university, but stepping down as president. National college football. It's going to be Washington and Michigan. How about that? Washington and Michigan face off college football national championship game next Monday night. 6:30 ESPN. Washington outlasted Texas, and number one ranked Michigan outlasted Alabama. That was overtime. Both games close until the very end. So Washington versus Michigan in the college football championship on Monday night. Now on to world news from the BBC. A Coast Guard aircraft involved in a fatal collision at Tokyo's Haneda Airport was not cleared for takeoff, Japanese authorities said. The smaller airplane collided with a Japanese airline passenger jet on the runway on Tuesday. Newly released transcript just before the crash confirmed the JAL Airbus A350 was cleared to land. Permission for takeoff was not given to the Coast Guard Bombardier Dash 8 aircraft. Miraculously, all 379 passengers and crew on board the state-of-the-art JAL Japanese airline Airbus were safely evacuated after the collision. This according to Tokyo police. Within hours of the blaze, they confirmed reports that the 5 Coast Guard crew members had died and the pilot of the Coast Guard aircraft was severely injured. And in our final story for today, again, we turn to NBC News, trying to kind of bring you a synopsis, an update on this Israel-Hamas war. We turn to NBC News in a section of their reporting that they call What We Know. The killing of a senior Hamas leader in a strike in Lebanon has stoked fears of escalation between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. Saleh al-Arouri was killed along with 6 other people in a suburb of Beirut, sparking global calls for restraint. Israel has not confirmed whether it was behind the blast, but the country's military said it is prepared for any scenario as the focus turned towards an expected response. 2 right-wing Israeli government ministers have hit back at criticism from the United States and others after their comments calling for the displacement of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. The State Department rejected the comments yesterday as inflammatory and irresponsible. More than 22,000 people now. More than 22,000 people have been killed in Gaza since the war began. This is according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. More than 55,000 have been injured, and thousands more are missing and presumed dead. According to the other side, Israeli military officials say at least 170 soldiers have been killed during the country's ground invasion of Gaza, which came after 1,200 people were killed and about 240 hostages were seized after Hamas launched their multi-pronged attack on Israel on October 7th. So rapidly approaching 3 months of war over there, and all kinds of thousands and thousands of people that have nothing to do with Hamas are being slaughtered, and everybody's got a position. Everybody's got a position on it. So that's what we have to share with you today on Newsbreak. We look forward to seeing you Friday afternoon, in 2 days, Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. for our next installment. A special shout out to our Crackerjack producer, Chelsea, who keeps all this rolling for us, not only on this show, but on all our shows. So we keep on keeping on and look forward to seeing you on Friday. Take care of yourselves and each other.